Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Sun and Moon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about the new Pokemon Ribombee. So let's get started and see what all the buzz is about by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Ribombee is a Bug Fairy type Pokemon, and actually the first Pokemon to possess this new unique typing, which I thought was pretty unbelievable the first time I ever heard it. The abilities, though, however, are Honey Gather, which unfortunately has zero use in competitive battles, Shield Dust, which is one of my personal favorite abilities that nullifies the chance of any secondary effects from attacks directed at you from occurring. For example, if your opponent were to go for Scald to try to burn you, Shield Dust will actually prevent that burn chance from ever happening. And this also works for things like flinches from Headbutt or Iron Head, and things like stat drops that could occur like Shadow Ball lowering your special defense. Shield Dust blocks all of those things. And then the last ability that it gets is known as Sweet Veil, which is its hidden ability that prevents this Pokemon from being put to sleep. As for its stats though, the first thing to note is that this Pokemon is fairly frail, with base 60 HP, 60 defense, and 70 special defense. So you do have to be careful when you use this Pokemon, as it is going to not be able to take too many hits throughout the battle. As for its attacking stats though, it has a base 55 physical attack, which unfortunately isn't that great. But its special attack being base 95 will allow this Pokemon to do a lot of damage with its special moves, and there is a rumor going around that its special attacks can really sting. As for its last stat though, its speed, it is actually base 124, which is one of the highest speed stats of the new Pokemon introduced into the 7th generation, which allows this Pokemon to basically outspeed the majority of things it's going to be up against and deal a significant chunk of damage to them. But with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to begin by giving it a Timid Nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack, or a Modest Nature to increase its special attack but lower its physical attack. And for the ability, going with Shield Dust. As to the EVs, we're going to put 4 into its defense, 252 into its special attack to max that out, and 252 EVs into its speed to max that out as well. And for the item, either going with Choice Specs to boost your special attack, a Choice Scarf to boost your speed, a Life Orb to boost the damage of all of your attacks at the cost of losing 10% of your health every time you damage your opponent, an Expert Belt to boost the damage of your super effective moves, an Assault Vest to boost your special defense a little bit, or Leftovers to allow you to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. All these options have their own merits, some being better than others, but all are still options that I wanted to present to you as possible choices. For the moves though, we're going to first go with either Bug Buzz or Pollen Puff to be your main stab bug type move. Both of these attacks have the same base power, and Bug Buzz is going to be the better move 9 times out of 10, just for the fact that it is able to actually hit Pokemon behind substitutes. But Pollen Puff could be a useful alternative because of the fact that it isn't blocked by Soundproof like Bug Buzz is. But that isn't going to happen too often, so more often than not, you're going to want to use Bug Buzz, but Pollen Puff is there just as a potential option if you are worried about something like that. As for its next attack though, we're going to be going with Moonblast to be your main stab fairy attack, and then for the last real coverage move, we're either going to be running Hidden Power Ground or Hidden Power Fire, because it allows this Pokemon a little bit of an easier time to deal with Steel types and Fire types as well in the case of Hidden Power Ground. And for the last move on the set, we're also going to be running U-Turn to allow this Pokemon to get some switch initiative, possibly switching into something to counter whatever your opponent brings in on this guy, and will be very useful for allowing this Pokemon to get some useful chip damage over time and give you some switch initiative. As for this next moveset, we're going to go ahead and give it the same nature choices between Timid and Modest, the same ability of Shield Dust, and the same EV spread as on the previous set, but the item choices are going to change just a little bit to reflect the fact that this is a boosting moveset. So we're going to either run a Life Orb, Leftovers, Buginium Z, or Fairium Z to allow you to have kind of a one-time super-powered attack to use against your opponent that is based off of one of your stab moves. So for the moves on the set, the main difference between this one and the previous one is that we're going to be running Quiver Dance, which is one of the best boosting moves in the game in that it boosts your special attack, your special defense, and your speed by 1 stage. And in doing this, you're essentially making this Pokemon ridiculously fast for sure, and also significantly more powerful, allowing it to deal a lot of damage and really not be outsped by much. As for its moves though, again we're going to be going with Bug Buzz and Pollen Puff as your main stab bug move, and Moonblast as your main stab fairy move, and then for the last move slot, again running Hidden Power Ground or Hidden Power Fire as a coverage move to allow you to basically break through a Pokemon that is able to resist your normal stab attacks. But overall, the main difference between this one and the previous one is that we're boosting up and making this Pokemon more powerful. On the other hand, we could also run a defensive boosting set on this Pokemon, which, like the previous set, will make this Pokemon very powerful, but this one sacrifices a little bit of type coverage in favor of giving it an easier time to set up. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a bold nature to increase its physical defense and lower its physical attack, go with the shield dust ability again, and for the EV spread, go with 248 HP EVs, 252 physical defense EVs, and 8 speed EVs. And for the item, going with leftovers to allow this Pokemon to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. As for the moves though, again we're going to be going with Quiver Dance to boost our special attack, special defense, and speed by one stage. And this works particularly well on a more bulky set because it essentially allows you to take special hits even better than you normally would be able to, and because we're running a chunk of physical defensive EVs as well, this Pokemon will have the ability to acquire more Quiver Dance boosts than it might have been able to on the previous moveset. As for your next attack though, we can either run this as a mono attacking set or a set that is basically similar to the previous one in that you get your stab coverage and have the ability to regain health. So for the first move, we're either going to go with Bug Buzz, Pollen Puff, or Moonblast to be your main stab bug or main stab fairy type attack. As for your next move though, if you did want to go with a bug type move in your second move slot, you could run then Moonblast here to be your main fairy stab, or you can run Aromatherapy in this move slot as well, which is amazing for this Pokemon because if your opponent tries to Toxic you while you are setting up, you can just heal off the Toxic by Aromatherapying, or getting another status on you. This move will basically get rid of that and allow you to continue to set up over and over again. As for your last move though, we're going to be running a recovery move either in the form of Roost to give you a little bit more guaranteed recovery in that it will always be healing for the same amount, or we could run Draining Kiss as a secondary stab option due to the fact that this move recovers an absurd amount of HP compared to most of the other draining moves that exist in the game. But either of these options are completely viable and will give this Pokemon a little bit more type coverage if you choose to go with Draining Kiss. Otherwise, you can just, as I said before, run this Pokemon as a mono-attacking boosting set by just relying on either Bug Buzz, Pollen Puff, or Moonblast to be just your only attack, and then continue to just boost up and heal off any statuses you might get inflicted with to then keep boosting over and over again. As for the last two movesets of this video, we're going to be using Ribombee as a dual screener, and the first variant that you're looking at right now is the more offensive variant, which includes giving it a Timid Nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, the Shield Dust ability, and an EV spread of 4 defense EVs, 252 special attack EVs, and 252 speed EVs. We're also going to be running the item of either Leftovers to allow you to have some recovery at the end of every turn, or the Light Clay item to allow this Pokemon to extend the turns of its screens from 5 turns to 8 and support your team for longer. And speaking of those screens, the first two moves on this moveset are going to be Reflect and Light Screen to basically make your team take physical and special hits a lot easier. And again, with the Light Clay item, these will be extended for 8 turns as opposed to their usual 5. As for your next move though, you're either going to go between Moonblast or Draining Kiss as your main stab fairy type attack. The reason to run Draining Kiss here, however, is mainly just for the recovery, but Moonblast, as many of you know, is already the more powerful option, so either kind of works here in this moveset. As for your third or final option of this moveset, we're going to be running either Bug Buzz to be your main stab bug type attack on the special side, or Pollen Puff as like before, Roost as an option to allow you to regain health and possibly continue to set up screens throughout the battle, or U-Turn as a way to basically just set up your screens and get out of there, and give you possibly some switch initiative throughout the battle. There is, however, again, another way to run this moveset, like I've been doing this for many of the videos that I've been uploading so far for 7th Gen, and that is a more defensive variant, which is basically going to include either running a Bold or a Calm Nature to boost its physical defense, but lower its physical attack, or its special defense, but lower its physical attack, and then running an EV spread of 248 HP EVs, 252 physical defense or 252 special defense EVs, and 8 speed EVs. And the reason why I'm going to fully invest in both of these defensive stats is because this Pokemon doesn't have huge defenses in either department, so you pretty much have to just commit to one defense and hope that you switch this Pokemon in on those types of moves. It's also important to note that this set will actually have an easier time setting up screens throughout the battle because it is significantly bulkier, but if you do want to still use this Pokemon's speed and special attack, you can go with the first variant of this moveset. But that is it for this video, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed all of my bee puns and also the movesets that I had for you in this video today. As always, everybody, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.